Hello, my brethren, and let me just say, what's going on? What is going on? Cause you man are just fiending for this part three that I'm about to do right now, bro. The what if Izuku was betrayed and the reincarnation of Bond series, bro. It's my most viewed series, bro. It's even got more views than my first video, which my first video has 127 at the current point, and my the part one has like 500 something, and then part two has 228. Bro, you niggas ran up the fucking views. I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you. You my niggas. You my niggas. You my niggas. You my niggas. Give me a second. And I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. So, like I was saying before my little sister interrupted me, bro. So, thanks for the support, fam. I love each and every one of you, even though most of you aren't subscribed. So please subscribe. I ain't one of them niggas that care about subscribers like that, but I appreciate them very much, like very very much. So if you could subscribe, that would be great. If not, thank you anyway for just viewing the video. Trying to get to 100 subs, and at this rate, we'll probably reach it next week. Help to make that a reality. Thank you, my bro. So, last we left off, Izuku just disrespected All Might in front of his one of his girls, and All Might was he was salty, bro. He was salty. Like the nigga doesn't understand why the reporter, which the reporters are usually all over him, because he's All Might. My nigga got bulk. The nigga, no homo, he looked good, to the ladies. So they all over him. This one, she didn't give a fuck about him. She just wanted that. She wanted that adolescent dick. You know what I'm saying? It's still bigger than his, but anyway, no homo to all that shit. But anyway, so like I said, thanks for the support. So last time we left off, Izuku and reporter girl they just walked off, which I like black characters in anime. So I'm just gonna say it's a black reporter, bitch, and Izuku black too, bitch. I'm kidding. I don't. What? Yeah, he black too, bitch. So her name is Naomi, because I just like that name, bro. That name beautiful. Anyway, so they're walking off, right? And Izuku remembers the back of his mind is playing that at the sports festival, um, you know, old dude Ida whole time was getting calls from like hospitals and shit talking about his brother. And Izuku, since he has superhuman abilities, I'm just gonna say he has super hearing just because I want to. So whole time, Ida getting phone calls about his brother. How his brother got attacked by the hero killer. So Izuku, knowing that Ida's a dumbass nigga, even though he fucks with low key, because Ida always you always trying to G check niggas, you always trying to check niggas, but he doesn't fuck with him like that. He don't fuck with nobody like that, but he just thinks Ida is kind of a good person, kind of. So, and he's like, I don't want that nigga to do no dumb shit, you know what I'm saying? So, whole time, Izuku's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to slide on this nigga, Stain. So, Izuku goes back with the reporter, you know what I'm saying? And since Gran Torino, All Might hasn't told Gran Torino that he switched successors because he knows Gran Torino would fucking smack the shit out of him. Because, I'm not going to make Gran Torino a dickhead like All Might, bro. Like, what the fuck would I do that for? Like, Gran Torino is one of my favorite characters, legit. Like, so Gran Torino still offers the internship to Izuku, which Izuku, he sees it, he's like, oh, wasn't this like one of All Might's teachers or some shit. And Izuku's like, yes, sir. I'm gonna go to this nigga just to spite All Might, you know. And All Might's like, you don't even have my quirk. You shouldn't be going there. I should tell Gran Torino and blah blah blah. And Izuku's like, okay. And you're saying that he's a very noble man. So how would a noble man feel about you betraying your successor, taking away your power, and then when your successor comes back, you hating on him because you think it's all, nah, fool, I'm going to Gran Torino. So I'm doing this because if it was reality, Izuku wouldn't really go to Gran Torino. I'm just saying, but I want to further the plot, and because it's my what if, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? So Izuku whole time just goes to Gran Torino, and he gets there, sees old man on the ground with the what he thinks is blood all over him, which we know is ketchup, bro. So he gets there, and Gran Torino playing dead. So he's really like, well, it seems the old man kicked the bucket. Gotta call the police. They can deal with this shit. Cause he knows that if he calls the ambulance, the police will come anyway. Actually, yeah, he calls an ambulance. He's like, there's a nigga on the floor. It looked like he had blood all over himself. He's like face down. The nigga don't look like he breathing. And just as he says that, Gran Torino does that shit. He's like, hey, yo, what you doing? What you doing? And he's just like, all right, never mind. The nigga was just playing there. Fucking bitch ass. And he's like, sorry for wasting your time. Hangs up the phone. And he's like, what the fuck is you doing, bro? And, Gran Torino's like, it was just a joke, bro. Like, why do you have to call the ambulance? And Izuku's like, nigga, you look like you were dead. You look dead, my nigga. Like Machine Gun Kelly's career. But anyway, I'm not funny. I know I'm not funny. You don't have to say shit in the comments, okay? I know I'm not funny. You don't have to do this shit to me, my nigga. Cause Izuku's MVP. So shut the fuck up. The fuck up. Bitch ass niggas. Anyway, so Gran Torino, whole time, he's like, alright, get me some whatever the crackers that he, the little biscuit things that he wanted Izuku to fucking get him. He still does the same speech about one for all and shit, and Izuku's like, I'm gonna stop you right there, bro. Like, I don't have one for all. And Gran Torino's like, what? What the fuck do you mean you don't have one for all? Which Gran Torino, he's not tuned in. He's not tuned in to the media or anything, He just watches TV shows and shit. So he's not tuned into the media. So he doesn't know that people thought that Izuku was the UA traitor. He is just secluded as fuck. And he just knows what All Might tells him. And All Might ain't gonna tell him. At first, All Might thought that it was a great shame that he gave his quirk to a traitor. So he didn't tell Gran Torino. And he was gonna tell Gran Torino about it after he chose Mirio. But then Izuku came back. And then it was a great shame that he betrayed Izuku. So he wasn't gonna tell Gran Torino shit. But he had sent him letters before telling him that Izuku was his successor, so he couldn't do shit about that situation. Like, he was stuck for real. So Izuku's like, I don't have the motherfucking quirk. And Gran Torino's like, what the fuck you mean you don't have that shit? Like, All Might say you was his successor. And Izuku's like, ooh, this is gonna be good. I can watch his master be angry at him. He's like, All Might should suffer every bit of pain he did to me. You know what I'm saying? So he tells Gran Torino like, well, I was framed of being a traitor to the Hero Society, which All Might didn't believe me and left me to die, and he took his quirk, and Gran Torino's like, if he left you to die, then why aren't you dead? And Izuku's like, well, it turns out I did have another quirk, and it was actually a half and half quirk, which first is immortality, and the second is like a type of energy manipulation. And Gran Torino's like, oh shit, my success. He's not my successor. He's like, oh shit, my student's a fucking idiot. He's like, he passed up on a nigga with immortality. Like, this nigga gonna live forever. If he had one for all, he would just be the greatest nigga in the world. And Gran Torino's like, okay, so if you don't have it, then who the fuck has the power? He's like, All Might doesn't have it for himself right now, does he? And Izuku's like, nah, it's this whole ass nigga called Mirio the whole time. And Gran Torino's like, why you call him a whole ass nigga? And Izuku's like, cause All Might don't like me. He legit hate me for some reason, you know? The nigga still think I'm a villain for some reason. Even though I've proven on multiple occasions that if I was a villain, I would be able to beat his ass. And Gran Torino, this whole time, listen to this, he's like, this little nigga is funny as hell. You know what I'm saying? So Izuku's like, whole time, if I was a villain, I would be able to beat his ass. And why would All for One give up immortality to a nigga? Like, why would he give up immortality to a nigga? Like, bro already wants immortality so he can beat All Might, you know what I'm saying? So why would he give it to me? Like, that just makes no motherfucking sense. And Gran Torino's like, you're right, it don't make no motherfucking sense because the whole point of All for One's goal was to be immortal or to live forever, so he could be the symbol of chaos forever. You know, so it don't make no motherfucking sense. And Gran Torino's starting to peep like this little nigga smart as shit, and he charismatic as fuck. He funny as hell, and he's like he low key handsome, no homo. And this nigga got a hero spirit, but he knows how to take a joke. He's like, this would be literally the perfect fucking successor. And All Might threw that shit away for a stuck up piece of shit. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. I like Mirio. I love Mirio. I love Mirio, you know, but in this one, he's just gonna be a little bit of an asshole just because of. But he gave that up because he didn't believe in his successor. That is some bullshit. And Gran Torino's like, I should have words with All Might for real. And Izuku's like, nah, don't worry about it. I already have words with him on a daily. Like this nigga is, like uh, this nigga knows he done fucked up, but you know he still won't accept that I'm a good person. And Gran Torino's like, yeah, bro, like it don't even matter for real. Like I just wanted to train you because of all the good shit he said about you. And Izuku's like, whoa, I guess that was back when he was still saying good shit about me before he thought I was a fucking villain. And Gran Torino's like, damn, he's like, you just have to rub it in his fucking face the whole time, huh? Izuku's like, hell yeah, that nigga betrayed me. Like, bro, I don't forgive and I don't forget. Fuck that nigga. You know what I'm saying? So, whole time, Gran Torino's like, okay, I don't even know how to train you in any way because you don't have one for all, you know. So, how the fuck am I gonna train you? Izuku's like, um, I heard from All Might you a scary dude and you was a veteran, so we could just do combat training the whole time if I'm being for real. And I'm gonna say that the when Ida goes after Stain is like 1 week later. It's one week after they arrive at their internships that he finds Stain, you know. So Izuku's like, we can just do combat training if you want to. And Gran Torino's like, you sure you can handle me, young blood? And Izuku's like, bitch, you old as fuck. you tripping over yourself, bro. He's like, yo, cape too big for you. You got some fucking shrinkage on you, bro. I heard you used to be tall as fuck. And Gran Torino's like, he's like, okay, you talking all that good shit now. You talking all that good shit now. Wait until we get fired up, bitch. And Gran Torino's like, you ready? And he's like, sure, whatever. And Gran Torino just start jumping all over this motherfucker, you know, like jumping all over the motherfucking place. So he's jetting around, kicking Izuku in his shit, breaking bones because he heard Izuku told him he's immortal. So Gran Torino's he's not holding back whatsoever. So he's kicking Izuku in his shit, breaking bones and that. And Izuku's like, oh shit, so we going hard, no homo. And I'm sorry if I said no homo too much. It's just in the household that I've been raised, it's been taught to me to be very homophobic. You know what I'm saying? I'm not very proud of that raising, but it is who I am. So if you don't like it, you can get the fuck out. And I'm sorry if the energy in this one is way more hype or less hype than the last one. It's just I'm in a different state of mind in this one, you know? It's like, bro, I am so happy you don't even understand. And when I'm happy, there's either two things that can happen. I can either become very, very chill or very, very hyper. Which right now I believe I'm fucking hyper. So they do combat training, and this whole time Izuku has never fought a nigga that he's fought thing, what'd you call it? Bakugo, which Bakugo had like explosive movements, but Bakugo still couldn't do shit to him because Bakugo was too slow. He had a bit of power, like a bit of kick, but he was still too slow. And plus Izuku was immortal. Like there was who'd you call it? There was Todoroki, but Todoroki all he could do is throw his quirk at him for real, for real. And he's impervious to mental attacks like Deadpool. So Gran Torino for him is just a whole new experience. And until this point, I'm not gonna lie, Izuku was getting kind of a big hit. He was like, I'm immortal, I can't die, and I have super strength, super speed, nigga. I can basically fly. Like I have energy manipulation type shit, and he's like, bitch, MVP. Whoa! Sorry. He's like, whoa, whoa. He's like, whoa, MVP, bitch, bitch. And he's like, sorry. I know I'm a bit corny, but still, most valuable player in the game, in the Hero Society, in the world of United States of America and Japan and England and Russia, everywhere, nigga. Most valuable player, immortality in this bitch. You know, you know what I'm saying. So, so basically, um, they do just the combat training, and this whole time Izuku's having to get like used to Gran Torino because I'm pretty sure Gran Torino is one of the fastest people on the show, especially because of his small demeanor, his small stature. That means he can like move around like a fucking bullet, you know. So he's way faster than Stain. So when Izuku come, if Izuku like fought Stain, just as what you call it, just as when he came to Gran Torino, he wouldn't pretty much stand a chance against Stain. He wouldn't stand a chance against Stain's speed. He would stand a chance against Stain though. But anyway, but now he's training with Gran Torino, and he's getting used to this to Gran Torino, especially because Gran Torino is like he's a veteran. So he knows all the fucking tricks in the book, the dirty ones, the ones that play by the book, all of them. So Izuku just learns. And Gran Torino notices that Izuku he like he has like superhuman strength. And Gran Torino asks him like, if you don't have one for all anymore, how do you have that superhuman strength? And Izuku's like, well, I've never told anybody this, but because of my very special healing factor, the more I train, if I train a lot, like I get a certain amount of superhuman strength, and I can increase that by stealing other people's strength. And Gran Torino's like, what? And Izuku's like, yeah, that's the energy manipulation I was talking about. Like that was how I was able to fly like All Might one time because I stole his like um his energy type thing. And that buffed me up a great bit, so I was able to flex my muscles and fly like him. And Gran Torino's like, shit, that's a powerful ass um quirk you got there. And Izuku's like, shit, I know. He's like, it ain't no quirk though. And Gran Torino's like, what you mean? He's like, it's just a power. I just like to call it a power. It ain't no quirk though. And Gran Torino's like, whatever, whatever. Let's get back to training. He sneak Izuku real quick, just break his whole jaw, send it flying. You know what I'm saying? So whole time they've been training, and then it's time for the incident with Stain and shit, right? So they hop on the train, they go into wherever the fuck they were going, and then normal attack. And Gran Torino goes off to fight the normal, but he knows Izuku can't die, and Izuku is strong enough to defend himself against these shits. So he's like, Izuku, make sure you protect the people in this motherfucking train. And Izuku's like, yeah, 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 sure, sure, sure. Um, but before Izuku can do anything, a flying normal just grabs his shoulders ripping him through like the train and shit. And since Izuku lost all my strength, he can't fly in the sky no more. Like he can't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? So Izuku is just being dragged by this motherfucking Nomu, and he just like punches the Nomu in the face, and the face just splatter because he's improved his technique of punching and his power over the time he's been with Gran Torino. You know, so the nigga is powerful now. So he's dropping, right? And he just happens to drop in the exact same place Ida drops. Well, Ida was. The exact same place Ida was. And you know why? Because plot, nigga. Because plot, nigga. Like, because I fucking said so. Like, I want him to drop there. But anyway, like I was saying, he drops just like a block away from the alley. And he knows that. And he's like, well, this was. He's like, well, seems something is going terribly wrong in this area because he sees nomus all around. So he just starts killing nomus, and the police are asking like, "Who are you? You can't use your quirk." And Izuku's like, "Well, I have the supervision of a hero." And they're like, "Well, where's that fucking hero?" And Izuku's like, "He's somewhere else fighting nomus." And the heroes are, and the police are like, "Well, whatever. We need all the help we can get, you know, because at this moment they're trying to survive. They ain't trying to fucking reinforce the law, nigga." So Izuku kills a good five nomus before you get, and these ain't like these ain't weak nomu too. I'm gonna say Shigaraki, um he he brought like um a bunch of low ranking nomu and then a mid grade nomu, which if you didn't know, a mid grade nomu is like it's like the nomus that are that All Might fought in the USJ, you know, and so Izuku has to defeat that high grade Nomu real quick. Just stole all his motherfucking power, you know. He stole all the Nomu's power and then just blasted him right through the face. This Nomu, he didn't have a regeneration quirk because all all for one, he ain't trying to waste no more regeneration quirks, you know. So anyway, Izuku blasts the nigga. The nigga dies, and then Izuku hears a scream of pain, and he's like, "Yep, that's that bitch ass nigga Ida." And he just rushes towards the fucking alley he hears it from. When he gets there, he sees this random ass nigga just stabbing Ida. You know, he's stabbing Ida in his legs and shit. And Izuku's like, "Now I know good and damn well this nigga ain't just stabbing him in the leg." You're like, that is just some sick shit, man. Like that's what he need. He needs them shits for his quirk to work, bro. And Stain is like, "Oh, looky here. If it isn't another fake he," and then he doesn't even get to finish that sentence because Izuku, the power of the Nomu is kind of draining from his body, but he still has a little bit of it left, you know. So he just speed blitzes Stain, just whacks that nigga in the motherfucking face. Simple. Craters him into the wall. Like the wall just completely shatters, goes through it into the building. Which then he calls like two police officers who he asked the police officers to what do you call it, chaperone him just so that he could have an alibi for when people ask like what he was doing during the attack so that he doesn't get in trouble, and he can say he had like police officers or heroes supervising or some shit. So he asked the two police officers like, "Come take." He's like, "Take the bodies and get the fuck out of here. I gotta deal with this nigga." And they're like, "What about the supervision thing?" And he's like, "You know what? Fuck the supervision thing. I gotta deal with a villain." And the officers are like, "Well, good luck to you, young man," because they've seen Izuku can deal with him, did it himself. They're like, "You're still gonna get in trouble. You still gonna get in trouble, my nigga." And Izuku's like, "It doesn't matter. Like, I'm MVP, my nigga. They can't do shit to me. I'm like Kobe Bryant or Kevin Durant or LeBron James. They can't do shit." You know what I'm saying? So So technically, Izuku is still using his quirk without permission, but they can't do shit to him. So you know. But anyway, the hero killer Stain he comes out of nowhere while Deku is distracted. He's trying to test Deku, right? So he spins the knife towards an officer like he did the first time to Native, but this time he does it towards an officer. And he throws the knife at super high speed, which Izuku can't just grab it out the way. He has to stop it with something because the knife is super fucking sharp. If you didn't know, so Izuku just gets in the way and the shit just stabs into his fucking back, and he's like, "Fuck, damn it!" And it went near his heart. So when shit pierces his heart, it really hurts. Like it doesn't hurt like if he gets a limb chopped off or some shit, but when shit pierces his heart, that hurts. You know, like when people cut off his limbs or some shit, that just feels like a tingle. When it pierces his heart or his brain, that hurts like fucking hell. So he just rips the knife out and he's like, "Ooh, you pissed me off now, nigga." He's like, "You done pissed me off, nigga." And Izuku grabs the knife and he just throws it somewhere else, right? And Stain takes the moment of Izuku venting his feelings and just speed blitzes Izuku real quick and like slices Izuku's arm and takes a little blood and licks it. Izuku's paralyzed. But you don't understand that Izuku whole time has been stealing all the Nomu's power, right? And with the little bit that he has left, he doesn't break the paralysis, but he's able to move, you know? So he's moving at 30% speed of his own speed, which is like 50% of Stain. So he's keeping up with Stain pretty well, especially because of the moves he learned from Gran Torino. But he's like, this still gonna be a it's gonna be a bitch to deal with, because he's immortal. His his fighting style is accustomed to letting people gas themselves out and just cut him all over and just basically beat the fuck out of him, even though they're not doing shit. Like it's like to let himself take damage because he knows he's gonna heal. But in this instance, he's starting to notice shit. This fighting style may not be the best because there's people like him that have paralysis words, where if I take damage from them, I get paralyzed, and the more that it stacks up, the harder it is for me to move. So Todoroki finally arrives, and he's like, "What the fuck, Izuku? Like, nigga," because Izuku did call him. Well, actually, no. Ida called him. Yeah, that's a more logical explanation. So Izuku, he's like, "What the fuck, Izuku? Like, what is you doing, nigga? Like, you being weak right now." And Izuku's like, "Nigga, he has a paralysis quirk. Like, I might be immortal, but that doesn't mean I'm immune to paralysis, my nigga. Like, come on, bro." He's like, "Help a brother out." And Todoroki's like, should I help you? He's like, you always talking shit for real. So should I help you for real? And Izuku's like, "Yes, you should fucking help me, nigga. You're supposed to be a fucking hero." And Stain seeing this banter between them, he's like, "What the fuck?" And he's just hearing everything Izuku's saying, which Izuku says it in a very aggressive way, but he still says the same thing that original Deku does. He still does the same shit, which Stain's like, "He's a real hero. I have to spare him for the sake of humanity, blah." And Izuku's like, "Sneak attack," and Todoroki's like, "Sneak attack." Because in this one, they're not gonna be friends, but they're gonna be like a mad tag team, And Izuku is starting to forgive Todoroki just because Todoroki's a cool dude. He was just misled by information, and Todoroki actually accepts that he was wrong, and Izuku did not was not the traitor. But the rest of the niggas, they don't accept that. They still think they still have doubts about Izuku being the traitor, and they still don't trust him. And they still feel like they were right to leave him to die, which Izuku doesn't understand. But one of the niggas in the last comments of the last video, the nigga said Izuku ex Froppy is the shit. Nigga, you absolutely right. If you don't know me, if you don't know who I am, wait, give me a second. Let me see something. Hey, yo! Hey yo, by the time this come out, the video that's uploading into YouTube is probably gonna be uploaded already. That video is what if Deku was the legendary Super Saiyan, which is not really the legendary Super Saiyan, but you'll understand why once you see the video. Angry Deku. But anyway, so yeah, it's gonna be Izuku X Froppy, but he's gonna be a man about the town. You know what I'm saying? That's what I wanted him to be, bro. I didn't want him to be like tied down to only one girl. You know what I'm saying? So no, it's not gonna be Izuku X Froppy, bro. It's gonna be Izuku X any fucking buddy he wants, bro. Like she's gonna be like a Link type thing, you know? She's gonna be like one of his girls, but she's gonna be one of the ones that he actually feels something for, you know. And the ones that he feels something for is gonna be Naomi the reporter. It's gonna be Froppy, the Tongalicious, the Gobble Gobble monster, bro. The one that gives the Gobble Gobble 3000 type thing. You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't know. Oh, and Asui as well. Ashido. Ashido, I think. Yeah, that's her name. The Acid Girl thing. Bro, Acid Girl, Froppy, well, Acido, Froppy, Momo. Bro, them's is the baddest girls in 1A. I don't get what Deku sees in fucking Uraraka, my nigga. When you have Froppy, bro. Froppy is my top tier waifu. Her and Ashido, they're waifu queens. They're queens, bro. They queens. Cause Froppy, bro, bro, the top from that girl would be crazy. Tongue action on point. And Ashido, bro, like she just seemed like she's down for anything. I like that type of girl. You know what I'm saying? Like positivity on point. Ain't no negativity around us, darling. But anyway, so Izuku, he's like, "Fuck, nigga, let's just sneak attack this nigga real quick." And sorry about the rant, for real. I didn't mean for that to happen, but you know, it happened. So sorry, nigga. So he after Izuku says sneak attack, Izuku just jumps up in the air and Shoto just shoots out a massive amount of fire, which burns Stain's one arm. You know. And so because of that, Stain is hurt, so his speed goes down. His speed decreases because it didn't just burn his arm; it burned like a whole side of his body. So his speed is decreased to 50%, which now Izuku can deal with him. So Izuku just beats the shit out of Stain with help from Todoroki, which Todoroki is like throwing a bunch of ice spikes, well, blunt ice spikes at Stain. So, you know, it is what it is. And afterwards, um, Endeavor comes and he's like, okay, okay, okay. Like, he's like, so you and Shoto defeated this villain. And Izuku's like, it was me whole time, but and then Shoto like punches him in the shoulder and he's like, nigga, give me credit. And Izuku's like, alright, yes, we both work together to defeat the villain. And Endeavor's like, well, you niggas can't get no recognition from the press because um he's like, if it was just Izuku, then he could get recognition because people already know that he's immortal. They don't care. Like laws doesn't apply to him. He's gonna live forever type shit, you know. And everybody already knows this. They know laws technically don't apply to Izuku, but they still try to make it apply, you know. So Endeavor's like, everybody knows laws don't apply to him, but we have to make it seem like the Hero Society has Izuku under control. So if it was just Izuku, he could probably get the recognition, and that way would be a great way for thing for it would be a great image for UA, seeing that the student that they betrayed is accepting to be a hero and shit like that, or some bullshit that Endeavor would say. He's like, well, if it was just Izuku, he could get the recognition, and if it was just Shoto, he could get the recognition too, because it's the number two hero son, blah blah. But if it's both of you, like That's one too many students getting recognition for defeating a villain using their quirk without proper authorization from the authorities, you know? So he's like, so I'm gonna have to take the credit for this one. You're gonna have to hold that L, little bro. And Izuku's like, I really don't give a fuck. So I'ma leave, and then you two can have your awkward little father-son time shit. And Izuku's leaving, which the weird ass Nomu that came flying from the sky still tries to attack Izuku, and Stain, he knows that Izuku's immortal, but he still wants to do the speech thing, you know, because he still feels Izuku being in danger, and he's like, "That's a real nigga right there," and he's like, and he was semi-conscious during the conversation with Endeavor, so he's like, "The nigga doesn't even want recognition. That's a real hero right there." So he sees Izuku about to get attacked, still does the same shit, rips out the handcuffs, bloodlust, bloodlust binding, my nigga, and he still inspires everybody. He still inspires the villains from the League of Villains and shit, you know. So after that, Stain goes to jail, and you know, Tenya, real mad. He big mad that he didn't get to defeat Stain, and he's like, blah blah blah. I had to do it for my brother. It was the only way. Blood gets into us. And he's like, shut the fuck up, nigga. He just says it real quick. He's like, shut the fuck up, nigga. And he basically cuts himself, you know. He cuts himself in the wrist, and he asks Tenya. He's like, Tenya, drink this shit right now. And you know, Ida Ida is like, nigga, I ain't drinking from your wrist. That is disgusting. What is you on? And Izuku just forces his hand into Ida's mouth and forces Ida to drink. And Ida drinks it and immediately healed. Healed. Because Izuku's kind of like a vampire, but not really. Because the sun can't affect him. Neither can wood can't kill him. Basically, imagine like this. He's a vampire without all the weaknesses. So sunlight doesn't harm him. Wood can't kill him. Um, and he has no lust for blood, or he doesn't need to drink blood whatsoever. So, you know, it becomes what it becomes. So Izuku makes Ida drink it. Ida's healed, and um, Izuku knocks him out in the process of Ida drinking his blood, just so Ida can't remember, you know. So Ida thinks it's like kind of a dream. So that because Izuku doesn't want anybody to find out that his blood can heal people, because if they did, he'd be like kind of like a walking blood bag, which people need to heal themselves, you know. And he doesn't want that personally. I wouldn't want that, nigga. Like people always coming up to me asking me for me to donate my blood so people can be healed. Like I don't give a fuck, nigga. No. So whole time, um, whole time, Izuku is he's just a nice guy inside, but he's also a savage, nigga. What the fuck you thought? And so the dog guy, he's him seeing that the kids are nowhere near as damaged as in the original. He comes over, he has that talk to them, which Ida has woken up, and he has a talk with all three of them. He's like, you shouldn't be using a quirk, blah 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 blah. He's like, especially you, Izuku, you have too much publicity. The news might take advantage of that and twist our words, and we don't need that kind of heat on the Hero Society right now, especially because you know UA is being attacked multiple times now, so we just don't need that kind of press. So if you could like restrain yourself from using your quirk in public as much as possible, that should be like pretty good for us. And these people like, nigga, shut the fuck up, like, bro, like you prefer me just let my classmate die? He's like, you would rather me let Ida die, or would you prefer me not defend myself and let myself die, or would you prefer me let a villain get away and multiple people die, or or would you prefer me not do shit about the Nomus and then a bunch of houses burn down and shit, and just more people die. He's like, either way, if I did nothing, a lot of people would die. He's like, so shut the fuck up and do your job as a policeman, my nigga. And the dog's kind of getting angry. He's like, how dare you disrespect an officer of the law, blah blah. Law enforcement is a very good job. And Izuku's like, I know it's a very good job, bro. He's like, I just don't fuck with 12. He's like, being a hero and being a policeman is completely different. You niggas are 12. I'm a hero, nigga. I save I save niggas and I get bitches. Yeah. And then, reporter reporter girl shows up because this is a big event, so she needs to teleport it. She needs to report it real quick. And Izuku sees her there, right? And she comes up to Izuku. She's like, "What happened? What happened?" And Izuku, staying true to what Endeavor said, because he respects Endeavor, not for the deadbeat dad part, because Endeavor is he's a respectable man, except for his kids. When it comes to his kids, he's not a respectable man whatsoever. But Izuku's like, well, the number two hero Endeavor came and saved the day by defeating the hero killer Stain. All recognition should go to him. And um, Naomi gets the angle of every single person. So you know, so everybody's saying it was Endeavor because they have to. And so she's like, okay then. And then they finished recording, and Naomi, she instantly jumps at Izuku because the cameras are off now. So, you know, she can be herself now. She jumps at Izuku and she's like, baby. She's like, baby. Like, what? So, who was it that actually defeated the villain? Izuku's like, it was me, the fuck. Like, that nigga Endeavor ain't shit. Like, nigga, it was me. And Naomi's like, I knew it. And she's like, well, you want to go get dinner? And Izuku's like, obviously, let's go. And because Naomi has been hanging out with Izuku more, um, she gets way more intel about everything. But she only gets like intel that Izuku's allowed to reveal to the press. Like not things like not things like he says everything to her, but he says that she's not allowed to tell people a lot of things, and she's like, okay, okay, because he just has this charisma about him that makes you trust him. And for real, he would make a perfect villain. I'm not gonna lie to you. He would make a perfect villain or a perfect hero. It's either one. And if we're being honest, a hero and a villain are the same thing. They're just two sides of a different coin, you know. So they go out for dinner, and Naomi's like, so, you know, how's school going or some shit like that. And Izuku's like, don't even do that shit. Like, he's like, don't even do that shit. I don't like it when you talk to me like I'm a little fucking little boy. Like, you ain't my mother and I ain't your son. Like, you my lover. So talk to me like that. And she's like, okay then, how was work? And Izuku's like, alright. Work was alright. Like, they still got me cooking and shit. He's like, I'm an amazing chef. Which, by the way, this meat is like, it's like raw on the inside, bro. Like, and right now he's acting like Gordon Ramsay type shit. So, so she's like, yeah, yeah. She's like, but anyway, because of you, because I have connections to you, my news station has been getting a lot more publicity, and I'm getting famous, and because of that, that means I'm getting more money. And Izuku's like, so what? You trying to be like my sugar mama or some shit? Because Izuku's he's just a goofy ass nigga. But not in that sense. He's just a funny nigga. He's just having fun all the time. But anyway, they're chatting and shit, having a good time. Which then Momo and Froppy, Momo, Froppy, and Ashiro, because they just salty that Izuku can be with them. They walking about the city, talking about how Izuku has changed, and they like the new Izuku better than the old one. Like, he's more forward and stuff. And they're walking by, and they see Izuku in this restaurant. But there's this man in front of the window, so they can't see who he's with. So he looks like he's having a good ass time, you know. And Izuku whole time is inside the restaurant just talking to Naomi, you know. And then the man moves and they see Naomi. They're like, "Fuck, you know." They're like, "What is he doing with that old hag?" Blah blah blah. And um, Izuku and Naomi, Izuku and Naomi, they finish and they pay, and then you know they go out and they go to Izuku's hotel room, which, like I said, Izuku's staying at like this penthouse type thing because he's a very famous cook. He just he doesn't get a lot of publicity. He's like one of those underground cooks that get a lot of money, you know. So he's one of them, and he's staying at this penthouse, and he takes her up to the top floor, you know, takes her up to the penthouse, and he claps cheeks because that's what he does. So he takes her up, he claps cheeks, you know, and then he walks her out. He walks her out the building, you know, like it's like um, they went out at 8, so it's like 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. at this point. So he walks her out the building. He gives her a kiss. You know, he's like, "Well, I'll see you later, babe," because he's kind of dating her and kind of not. They have like an open relationship, but only on Izuku's side. Which by the end of the My Hero story, which I don't think I'm gonna go into manga spoilers because I don't even read the manga like that. So, but anyway, by the end, he's gonna have like 6 wives or some shit. I don't know. So he's like, "Bye, babe," and she's like, "Okay." So she's open to him, like liking more girls than just her, you know, and she can accept that because she knows that she'll still be his first, you know, the one he lost his virginity to, the one that he takes care of. She'll probably be the oldest, which she doesn't mind because she's only like 23, you know, and he's four. No, he's 15, about to be 16. So you know she doesn't mind it whatsoever. Which you might say pedophilia, but he's immortal, so I say differently. Anyway, if it was the other way around, if it was a nigga, I would completely be against it. That's pedophilia. But the other way, that's just a nigga getting bitches. Anyway, so he kisses her goodnight, and she goes on her merry way. He's about to go back into the building when Froppy, Momo, and Asido walk up to him. They're like, "So what were you doing with the reporter woman?" And Izuku turns around. And he's like, "Oh, it's you. Like, what are you doing around here at this hour? You know?" And they're like, "Don't play dumb. Like, we know you took her out on a date and blah 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 blah." And Izuku's like, "Well, technically that's none of your fucking business. Like, I am not your boyfriend, am I?" And all of them start blushing and shit. And he's like, "Well, anyway." He's like, "Well, when a male and a female love each other very much, they do this little thing called sex. So use your brain, darling." And Momo and Froppy and Ashido are like, "Well, whatever, you big meanie, you jerk, blah blah blah," because when it comes to Izuku, they just can't help but act girly. Anyway, they they get into this limousine, which Momo has because she's rich as hell, and they just drive away. And I'm pretty sure next is the um, training camp arc, which when they arrive at the which um, which they have dorms, but Izuku doesn't use a dorm because he's not allowed to bring girls to his dorm, and he doesn't like that, so he just doesn't like live in the dorms, you know. And so Izuku. Oh, and yeah, and he has the bunch of money, like I said, because he sells his organs, like on the black market and to hospitals. Like I said, especially to hospitals because people needs them, and he even sells hearts and stuff. And like I said, Anyway, so Izuku is he's a pretty big deal, but only a few people know about him, you know. And there have been some people from the black market that tried to kidnap him so they could like extract infinite organs from him for the rest of time, so they wouldn't have to get a supply or anything. But he just rocks their shit and just leaves, you know, because he's like, nah, nah, nah. He takes the money and just leaves, you know. And so now we're going to the training camp arc. We start off with everybody getting on the bus, and Izuku. You see Izuku outside with Naomi, and he pulls up in his car, which he drives because I want him to. And he gets off, and Naomi gets off as well, and he kisses her, and he's like, "All right, babe, I will see you in like I believe it was like a week or three. I don't believe. I don't even know how much time. I think it was like 3 weeks. So he's like, I'll see you in 3 weeks, and peace." And she's like, "Okay, okay, okay." And so he gives her the keys, and he gives her the keys. She turns around, goes to walk to the car. You know, he slaps her ass, and she gets in the car and she drives away because he trusts her with his car. And so they get on the bus and they go to the training camp. Yeah, I can talk more. So when they get to the training camp, Izuku still falls with everybody else he is just because he's what do you call it? Well, he's still inexperienced. He's not like a super veteran like All Might or Endeavor or Aizawa. So he kind of expected something like this, but he wasn't completely sure, so he still falls down with them. But what he doesn't have in experience, he makes up for in power. So I'd say he's number three hero level right now. You know, he's not All Might or Endeavor level right now because Endeavor and All Might they can still go plus Ultra and beat Izuku with uh, a lot of difficulty, but they can still beat him. But Izuku's like top three level right now, so he can beat ass. But over this training camp, it's actually gonna help him, and he's gonna become, um, you know, number one hero material, like Endeavor and All Might. Which I don't care what anybody says. Endeavor is one of my favorite characters, and he's number one material, bro. Just because he's a little burly and the nigga's a bit angry doesn't mean he's not number one material. Just because All Might was a happy, goofy ass nigga, just never mind. But anyway, they're going and they're speeding along the things, and Izuku he doesn't want to go ahead of everybody because he knows he has infinite stamina, so he can just stay behind with everybody else. So whole time he's just helping Froppy, Ashido, and Momo get through the course, you know. And so an hour later, everybody pops up on the other side, and everybody's tired except for Izuku and Momo, Froppy, and Ashido. They're less tired than everybody else. So that group of four are just they just don't look as tired as everybody else, and Izuku just doesn't look tired whatsoever. He still has this calm demeanor like this. He still looks exactly like this calm ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? So Izuku still looks like calm as hell. Which as I was like, so what happened? And Izuku's like, well, I could have come here like really fast, but I wanted to help some of the classmates out, so I just stayed behind. And as I was like, that's very kind of you. Which the rest of the classmates are like, no, it's not. This nigga was just helping. He was just helping the girls because he wants to get with them. And Izuku's like, bro, stop knocking my grind, please. Mind your own business. So anyway, they make the food, you know, which Izuku makes food for only he makes food for the whole class, 1A and 1B, because because all the teachers know that he has an after school job, which is being a chef in the underground world for famous people and stuff. And all the what do you call it? All the teachers, they know that he's the best cook they have in the UA, so they just like, yep, he has to make the food. It doesn't matter. He's the cook, and basically the students are like, why is he the cook? And they're like, reasons. Now he's the cook. He's cooking. And they make some bullshit reason. But anyway, Izuku cooks. Everybody eats the food. They're just like, wow, just wow, and it is what it is. So he's eating with the girls, and they're like, "This is really good. Why'd you look to learn to cook like this?" He's like, "Well, I have an after school job, which is being a cook, and I'm pretty good at it. So I just like whipped up something real quick, you know." And they're like, "Well, it's really good. Blah blah. Let's move on because I don't like the social activity unless it's savage activity, you know." But so Tiger, because Tiger, he understands that Izuku is immortal, and he can't really develop. He can't develop on the immortal side of Izuku, but he's like, but you are still inexperienced, and from what it seems, you have physical abilities and energy related abilities. So I'm just gonna help you with that because immortality can't be developed more than immortality. You have regeneration and immortality. And Izuku's like, fair enough. And so the whole time, Tiger is just sparring with Izuku, which from out of nowhere, Pixie Bop or Ragdoll or anybody will just use that quirk out of nowhere to catch Izuku off guard. Which this whole time, they're just preparing him for any random situations that might happen in the street or any other time. So all the other kids see that Izuku, he's getting way harsher training than any of them. Like he'll wake up and go to brush his teeth, and Tiger will just attack him out of nowhere. And so they see that he's getting harsher training than anybody, and they ask why, and Tiger just says, well, Izuku has the most experience and the most talent and power than any of you. The only thing he is inexperienced. That's why we need to help him in that department. And so, you know, everybody's like, oh, okay then. And they see that the rough training is just because he has that higher generation factor of his, and they can't hurt him. That's the only reason they're going so rough on him, and they don't do that for the other kids. And so the night of the villain attack comes. But guys, this is where I'm gonna end it off. I know I'm ending it off on a cliffhanger. Deal with it, my nigga. Anyway, have a good day, my virgin.